Hey everyone, this is Sarah's Night. Finally, we're going to be getting to The Evil Within today. Yeah, I'll admit, I don't know if I'm actually feeling up to best commentary and gameplay and everything today, but hey, gotta get started sometime. I don't know, you can probably tell from the way I sound, I'm not feeling quite at my best, but might have been from last week. We're in the middle of the work week. I just all of a sudden just kind of woke up in the middle of the night with tremendous sinus pressure, and I sounded like I was about to die. I didn't feel like it. I mean, it didn't feel that bad, of course, but I'm wondering if there's just remnants of that coming back. Must be the changing weather and all that crap. Especially in a place like Texas. God, I can't stand the heat here, but the fact is, it's not the heat, it's the fact that it's been, like, well over 80 degrees, sometimes 90, all the way up into, dead center of fall, and it's just now starting to get cold. You never know when that stuff's going to happen, so all the old people I work with, yeah, I'm just kind of making fun of them there. Not really trying to be insulting, but, they one of those signs of age when you start talking about the weather in general all the time, which is just this, like, one of the most mundane topics of conversation or life in general you can think of to talk about. But they always say, the older you get, the more the weather seems to affect you, so who knows, maybe that's what's happening. The fact that just stuff like changing weather actually is supposed to sometimes make people fall, like, somewhat ill. Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry. My last video, I just about had the story all wrong here, especially with the names of people, but yeah, sure enough, it was Shinji Mikami, the name of the guy who used to direct Resident Evil at Capcom, like, in the old days. And I think it was like in 2010 he left Capcom and started his own, like, kind of smaller game developing company, Tango Gameworks, and I know nothing of them other than the fact that they made this game right here. That's it. So, and this is also published by Bethesda, the same guys who did Doom, I think, and Wolfenstein as well. So that's kind of awesome. But yeah, I think like in the last video, I was wondering, wait, Shinji Mikami, wasn't that the name of the guy who used to be the president of Nintendo and unfortunately died a couple of years ago? No, that was Satoru Iwata, I think. So yeah, I had that all backwards. Names of like, prominent figures in video game development, especially being Japanese, of course, I'll get them confused easily. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of do it, not really do anything special here with this playthrough, just like brand new game, not doing like new game plus mode where you can take your developed weapons and all that from previous playthrough and kind of have an edge when starting a new game. We're just going to start over brand new with just on medium difficulty. They call it survival. Honestly, it's still pretty darn hard. I think, like, first time I played through this game, I was immediately drawn just to go casual, which, you think a survival horror fan, I wouldn't go for something like that. But no, it turns out that was the wise thing to do, because even casual mode, just trying to get used to playing this game, very first time, still died several times. It was still really challenging. I'll admit, even seemed unfair at some point. I really like the gameplay, so I think that's where most of the game's praise came from, gameplay and environment, while more criticism went towards story and characters. But honestly, I don't see a lot to at least majorly criticize about story and characters. I kind of like that too. I'll definitely find things to make fun of while playing through this, don't get me wrong, but overall it was a satisfying experience. So you gotta, it took me a minute going through this cutscene, this beginning cutscene, to see who even the main character even was going to be. I was trying to kind of guess when first playing through this and seeing this scene, but no, it's the guy in the passenger seat right there, in the front side passenger seat, and I was kind of wondering if it was going to be the guy back there or this woman, but no, that's Joseph and Kidman in the back, and they're sort of Detective Castellanos, the guy who was talking just now. in the passenger seat. They're sort of like his partners.
Dispatch, this is Detective Castellanos.
Which I think
Situation. Over.
Joseph had, the guy in the glasses, Joseph, has been his partner for a long time, and Kidman, the lady detective, has just kind of sort of come on and started working with the other two. And that's just a regular cop, over there in the driving the cop car to the hospital to investigate this murder.
Junior Detective Kidman. Any thoughts?
Nothing yet. I'm sure we'll know everything once we get there.
Oh, and of course she sounds all suspicious that way. Like whatever's going to be going down at this hospital where they're investigating this murder scene, that she's somehow connected to it. But no, I don't think that was actually it. She's not like a bad guy in this game. Secretly playing the other two detectives. I don't know, I really like the setting here, just the rainy weather, kind of gloomy scene. All the cop cars are abandoned. Everybody's like, well, what's going on? I mean,
You're with me. We're gonna have a look around.
Right.
it seems like, when whoever first responded to the crisis at this hospital, that it didn't go over well, and now we're gonna have to come in behind, and we may be in great danger too. Actually, I don't remember if this is a hospital or more like an asylum. It kind of looks like an asylum, and a rather fancy one, actually. But this is kind of where the game starts and not necessarily ends, but it's sort of like what is it I'm trying to say here? Kind of like where most of the plot takes place, where it all comes back to, really. And of course, the story ends up becoming a whole lot more complicated than just, typical, like, crazy, rampaging killer, comes through here and slaughters a bunch of people. I mean, and we're investigating it. No, of course, something more is going on behind the scenes, and we're, especially, these three main characters are kind of being strung along for the ride at someone else's whim. That's basically what's going on. Whatever settings we visit, it's going to seem really confusing, but really it's just you're playing someone else's mental game, and you kind of have to go where he directs you. He has pretty much total control over your minds right now. That's kind of what it's about. It's not really, I guess, kind of hinted at the title. What's really happening here is it's all kind of more in your mind than physically taking place. You're kind of facing a lot of the demons within yourself in an ironic way, but at this other guy's whim. This I guess kind of the token Jigsaw character. But yeah, definitely gonna have to be getting used to the controls here again. So one thing I noticed, this guy right here, this doctor, his face just kind of kept reminding me of somebody. Like, who does he look like? It's like an actor, kind of a small-time actor in real life. I don't remember his name, but it's whoever played, and he's been in other movies. The two movies I know for sure he's played in is like that movie Bad Dreams, the woman in the mental hospital who's kind of like the survivor of a suicide cult. She didn't go through with the suicide pact that they all made, but she's still being haunted by the leader of the suicide cult even long after his death. She's still being like haunted by the effects that the effects that he had on her past life, and all of a sudden her fellow inmates at the asylum are being killed off and stuff, and she wondering if it's like some kind of reincarnation of him or his ghost. That's how evil he was. That stretches well beyond his death and can still affect the living. But also, probably more well known, he was like the head of the FBI or something like that in Rush Hour 2, kind of a minor character, a gray-haired guy with just a weird face, just like that doctor you saw earlier. So yeah, now we're hanging upside down. We've been taken captive. It looked like we were stabbed straight in the eye with a screwdriver or something by this hooded guy in white that we saw on the video just easily killing off cops earlier because he can teleport like Jason Voorhees. And I kind of wondered if this guy right here that we're facing now, he's actually he was actually just the killer at this asylum. Just went on a rampage, slaughtering people with a chainsaw, and now he's got him in his like secret dungeon beneath the asylum here, just cannibalizing them and stuff, or basically just playing with their dead bodies, I guess, for no good reason. That's kind of the first impression you get, but. So now we have to escape because we're still alive. And now we see an opportunity here to come and grab the knife so we can cut ourselves loose, hopefully, from this corpse over here. And this the LS button right there is telling us to kind of just go rhythmically back and forth with the left analog stick in order to get that knife and cut ourselves loose. Now, how the killer did not notice me doing this, because I had to have making some noise. So right now we're not really doing fighting so much as kind of trying to sneak around, and if we're caught, it's immediate game over. So pressing RB, this is how we're going to, try to escape this guy, but later on it's going to be used as an offensive maneuver against enemies to do a sneak kill and save ammunition, which you definitely have to do in this game, I have to admit. They really kind of took you back to classic survival horror that way. It is not easy. You can't just go crazy and against enemies and stuff and use up all your ammo, or else you're going to be left in a bad situation. Uh-oh! I think... Yep, he's back. Yep. God, immediate game over. That's pretty embarrassing. Actually, I always had a problem with the first chapter, which you're not really fighting anybody. You're just trying to escape this guy, and he'll keep pursuing you. I'm not gonna lie, I think it's kind of lame. It's just like it's a overdone cliche, and I'm not really getting the connection between classic music and, atmosphere for horror. Yeah, I just have to go in here and grab the keys faster as soon as he leaves, and then we're back. Okay, I'm going to kind of look behind me here, make sure he doesn't... Now, there were some stairs nearby. Ah, this door right here. But yeah, if you notice, J.S. Bach, one of his probably most well-known classic works, Air, on the G string, yeah, that's what was playing just now, and it's kind of stupid, honestly. I see, I can't really name it specifically off the top of my head, but I know I've seen that so many times in other works of fiction. It's just like classical music playing, and maybe sometimes in this stilted, real offbeat way to kind of add to the atmosphere of horror at the moment, or panic, or fear, And I just don't quite get the connection there, why they do that. And the thing is, I wasn't supposed to, I mean, I as the player remembered that trap wire was there, and I saw it, but of course, you know, in Detective Castellanos, which I'm just gonna call him Sebastian for short, because that's easier and shorter to say whenever I refer to him. But of course, you know, from Sebastian's point of view, he didn't actually see that. You know, he's kind of too scared of this gigantic psycho with the chainsaw to notice something like that. But you know, later on, so that was supposed to happen. The fact that that alarm went off and alerted to the guy to my presence. Okay, so I think we gotta... Oh god, this is so disgusting. Sliding down all this gore. And of course, being sure not to get hit here by the blades. Ugh. Yeah, the thing is, pretty much as soon as I get out of this pool, I'm gonna be almost bone dry. And not have the gore of thousands of victims, you know, decorating my clothes, my flesh. I would probably just give up and die right now from just go ahead and commit suicide if I were in this guy's place. Just like, yeah, this looks pretty hopeless, and I really can't stand the smell and the feel of liquefied corpses all over me. Nope, just end it all right now. But later on, trap wires will be like a thing, and I have to be sure to avoid them. So yeah, you probably saw that the guy, the psycho, nicked me with the chainsaw on my leg, so I'm limping right now. And there's, I mean, I really can't go any faster. There's no helping this part. And that's one thing I noticed that I really liked about the gameplay here. Kind of added to the fear factor is I was always looking behind me, making sure nothing was coming up behind, because enemies are, I mean, this is a difficult game. Enemies are, you know, really dangerous. And I'm going to be in a lot of situations where, you know, I'm out of ammo, I'm low on health, and any little noise behind me or any change in the and kind of like the ambient music in the background will alert me and make me think that, you know, somebody's following me or... Okay, so here's our first file. Beside the locked gate at the far end of the sewer, there's a ladder which would take you to the old ward. And if you can make it through there, you'll find an elevator leading outside. You would be the one who escaped. You might be the one who survived. So that's really telling us where we need to go next. And this is probably like Silent Hill and maybe a lot of other games and movies and stuff that rode off of Silent Hill's back with kind of just this picture of horror, just twisted barbed wire and stuff. Yeah, that's kind of prevalent in this game too. But here's one way that's not blocked off. I know it's slow going, especially with him limping around and climbing up ladders, but I mean, considering it doesn't stretch on for much longer than this, I'm actually kind of behind it. I know that would, you know, that would make a lot of gamers impatient, but I mean, I totally understand why this is happening, and I do think it's actually almost necessary. So, whoever's written this note, STEM system operation test begins at frame-wave synchronization, loss is minimal. Continuing experiment, agent collects the data. 13:30, anomaly occurs. Not with the subject. The stenographer claimed they weren't feeling well and then fell into a coma for reasons unknown. Doctor orders the stem system terminated. 13:45. Wow, this all happened in the course of an hour. The staff begin complaining of nausea and falling unconscious one after another. Those who can still move plan their escape from the hospital, but for unknown reasons are unable to. Though the stem system should have been deactivated, subjects maintain brainwave synchronization with the host. 1400. That man appeared. So this kind of gives you an idea of what led up to the massacre at the hospital, you know, as we were coming in. And we already kind of know what might be happening to, as far as we know, as far as we would know, what's happening to Sebastian right now and the others. This kind of weird, like, collective mind experiment. And it's all headed up by this one guy who we'll learn later is the man in the hood, the white hood with the scarred face, who we got a brief glimpse of right before Sebastian fell unconscious and ended up in the dungeon of the crazy chainsaw guy. Now, meanwhile, don't think we've escaped yet. The chainsaw guy is looking for us right now. Of course, he just took a long way around instead of following us directly down that, you know, down that sliding ramp with the rotating blades and all, and into the pit of liquefied corpses and so on. And see, he's here. And we have to... Well, crap, I might be too late. He might have seen me. But yeah, what you were supposed to do is find this locker as soon as possible and get inside. And of course, you know, dumbass, as the pursuing killer, wouldn't think to search for you. Now, considering how long it was between the time I got in here and he came into the room, I'm assuming he did not actually see me go in there, even though I don't see how he couldn't have right through that window. But sure enough, yeah, it looks like he didn't. He's getting frustrated and leaves. Now that's what really got me. You know, when all of a sudden he just charges kind of back into the room. It's like he's hesitating to go through this doorway and backtrack, and then he just charges through here. It was making me think that he was going directly for the locker, like he was psyching me out, making me breathe a sigh of relief as he's starting to leave. But he's just playing me thinking I'm safe, and then he's just gonna come charging right for my hiding spot and slice me up. But no, it was actually him charging into this room over here, which actually is going to be my way out, because formerly, before he came crashing through, I would not have been able to go through that door. I'll admit that is a little bit of a silly animation when he gets frustrated, like, kind of shows his frustration every few moments, where he's like kind of pumping his arms up and down with holding the chainsaw, yeah, like that. But I don't remember the pattern of having to sneak through here and on forward past him into the rooms beyond. I don't remember it right off the bat, so I'm gonna have to kind of watch him for a while and make sure I at least get an idea of what to do. Now, hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully you don't have to, like, the game doesn't like punish you for actually watching him too long, and him actually come back into this area and see me directly, because then I'm screwed. Okay. I do know I have to go through these boxes first. And then I think we can distract him. Well, crap. Yeah, I didn't. I was supposed to throw it more at this doorway over here, and he didn't go in that direction. My aim was totally off, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, well, I think that might actually kind of screw me over for getting into the room beyond.
Shit.
Yep. I like it when Sebastian just kind of casually goes, ah, shit, whenever. Yeah, that was an awkward angle because I had hit a dead end, an obstacle there, so that's why you couldn't really see Sebastian getting killed right there. Okay, yeah. If I act quickly enough, I can just go ahead and get to this point without having to wait. Now, the thing is, I really do hate that. I really do hate that, like, Sebastian kind of has to, like, kind of teeter forward whenever he throws glass bottles to distract enemies. It's like he's trying to make himself known, you know, like, put himself out into the open from his hiding spot by, like, just stumbling that far forward every time. Like he really has to wind up for the throw, and, I mean, that's just not necessary. Now, I think eventually he might actually go through the doorway that I'm facing right now on his own. And I can go by through the doorway past the overhead lights here. Or maybe I can, maybe it actually goes all the way around these boxes right here. Nope. I would think that after so long, he'd just give up in this room entirely and think, alright, let's try somewhere else. It's not like he's even really looking for places where I might be hiding. I mean, he's not overturning boxes or looking under beds or anything. Whoop. Okay, let's make sure he's going to stay there for a second. Okay, yeah, we might be able to go through here.
Shit.
Yep, nope. He saw me. Now, you can keep kind of nicking me with the chainsaw. It's not necessarily immediate death. So I've managed to get away with that just barely a few times, you know, before I reach my you know, like the escape point where the game goes on rails from there, and I'm safe. He would always manage to nick me with the chainsaw if I'm running from him, like a few steps away from the exit, but okay. Let's try aiming this damn thing again. Thing is, I'm too afraid to do it over the boxes which have like a lower height here because, well, he's right there. And for some reason, Sebastian just feels that he has to raise to full height and stumble forward in order to throw, or to throw this thing to distract this guy. Now, when he's turned, yeah, we can do it that way.
Shit.
Well, crap. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really bad at this part. I always have been. I don't think I've ever done it flawlessly. But I mean, at the same time, I never find it frustrating. I actually kind of find it, you know, intriguing, the gameplay here, trying to seriously sneak around this guy. It's actually rather thrilling. I mean, it's kind of imitating, you know, more real life, that you're the one who's definitely in the disadvantageous position here if you were in Sebastian's shoes and trying to, you know, sneak past like this lumbering giant with a chainsaw in an area that you're unfamiliar with, like this. I mean, your chances are really not good. And you never know what he's going to do, where he's going to look, when he's going to notice, or that he might come across you at random, you know? You're not going to be able to see everywhere he goes, like Sebastian can right now, or I as the player. Okay, will you go out there, please? There we go. You know, the other thing that's unrealistic, though, is I'm bleeding everywhere. You know? Okay, I'll let him chew on that for a while as he comes rampaging in here. Okay, actually at this point, the exit's right down this hall, so I'm just gonna book it. Okay, somehow I actually managed to distract him really well with that. I don't know how, but whatever. Actually enabled me to get all the way through. Yeah, I think this is a good kind of cinematic part here, just stumbling over everything in desperation to get away from this guy. Now, one inconsistency I can't help but make fun of here is you don't really see Sebastian nursing his leg, which has been really badly cut. I mean, the way he's stumbling around. In fact, I think that was like a pack of cigarettes he just took out to just smoke and hopefully relax a little bit despite him bleeding, you know, heavily, and the searing pain of being cut with a chainsaw and everything. He does nothing to nurse his wound right here that we can see, and yet when he comes out of the elevator, he's like almost totally good. He's not stumbling anymore. I mean, sorry, like, I know this is the video game world, but stuff like this just does not, wounds like these do not heal on their own over time, at least not that soon. In fact, you have every chance, you know, of dying from infection or just bleeding out eventually if you don't treat them at all, you know. Yeah, there's director Shinji Mikami. Alright, see, yeah. he's pretty much good, just tired at best emotionally. And now we're just gonna run out of here because it looks like something even worse is happening now. And just pray that our partners who came in here with me are also safe and are fleeing the hospital. If not, have gone before me already. I mean, you may think this is weird, like, okay, what's with this earthquake and the entire city falling apart after just an event like me simply escaping the hideout of a deranged killer with a chainsaw. I mean, why is all this happening? But it's actually pretty much the start of the main villains. Ruvix, this guy in the white robe right here, is starting to play with our heads. It actually does have a reason for happening. Alright, hold on, guys. Let's see the pizza guy through the window. Give me a second while you watch this scene. I'll be right back.
I waited, but please settle down. Shit! There's no going back.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I just saw the pizza guy coming up the front walkway to my house through the window, so I was like, oh, don't want to miss him. I gotta say, for a minor character who's probably about to be killed off and we don't even know his name, the driver right here, he's actually got some serious skills. I mean, we at least see him kind of get to be badass in some way or another, rather than, you know, at least before he dies off like so many nameless cops in movies and games like these. Yeah, so as you can see, we also managed to get a hold of Kidman and the doctor and like a patient named Leslie.
Just a few bumps, we're fine.
We will be once we're far away.
Yeah, it turns out Joseph is okay, even though he's not with us like right this second. But yeah, he'll join us later. Yeah, just on a whim, the cop who drove us here, I guess he served his purpose, so now he's going to be the one who just so happens to become a monster and his fate is sealed, while the rest of us crash and survive. I mean, hell, you know, if you really want to think about it, if Ruvik could just do this to anybody he wanted, just turn them into monsters with, like, the power of his psychic waves, he could have just done it to the main character and ended all threat to, you know, just eliminated the most immediate threat once and for all right there. But of course, without that, we wouldn't have a game. So yeah, that's chapter 1 of 15. Trust me, there's a lot more action to come in the next chapters. But and they're most of them, if not all of them, are going to be a lot longer than this one. This was kind of just like the prologue to the game to get you familiar with controls and stuff. All right, so yep. that's that for now. I think I'll just go ahead and call it an LP here since we're at a good stopping point between chapters. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see y'all next time in Chapter 2.